We never had a quitter's mentality. We still don't. We have a mentality that we're going to die on the sword, come back on the shield type mentality.
Yeah.
We never wanted to quit or thought we were going to quit, but we did have moments where we're like, is this going to work?
Nick Kumalazzo is back here at the Core Medical Group Military Appreciation Weekend, and again, we're talking to guys who are building something or doing something bigger than themselves. And I am joined with one of my good friends, Joey, who is what do you call yourself if you want? The
Co-founder.
Co-founder.
We're like, we run like a flat organization, man. We're not
EOS
big on,
kind of
we're
like,
not big
yeah.
on titles, man. If you want to know my EOS seat, I'm in sales and marketing.
Okay.
Co-founder of Fuel Hunt.
Co-founder of Fuel Hunt. Excellent, man. Well, dude, we're kind of asking everybody the same questions, and so this is one that I think is great. What's a moment in your life where you thought this might break me, and how did you push through it? And I almost know some of those moments, so I want to.
Yeah, I mean, do I have to pick just one now?
No. Pick a couple. Pick a couple.
One of the moments from recent history was definitely transitioning over to Made in the USA. Transitioning over to American Made for Fuel Hunt.
That was hard.
It was very difficult.
It was harder than you thought it was going to be, right?
Here's the thing. It was easier on the manufacturing end than we thought it would be, harder on the cash flow end.
Yeah.
So that was,
and I'm in that
we
business.
thought it was going to be the other way around, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? But we definitely had some moments where we were like, look, we had like a great thing. Like you said, something bigger than ourselves. We're serving humanity, which I think is the meaning of life, right?
Yeah.
Serve many. And the community's growing, right? But it's been a dream of mine since Fuel Hunt started to be 100% American made. So we decided to pursue that, and boy, we did not know the mountain that we had to climb, you know what I mean, to achieve it.
Yeah, what's different with us is we started that way.
Yeah.
So we had to endure all of that kind of as we came up.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you guys made a hard shift.
Yeah, we made a hard shift, and you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
And, like, I'm stupid enough to just like plow forward. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we really didn't understand how complex it would be and how intricate it would be.
So what was your moment in that? Were you thinking like, oh man, we might have to fold this thing up, or like? Where was your head at?
We never had a quitter's mentality. We still don't.
Yeah.
We have a mentality that we're going to die on the sword, come back on the shield type mentality.
Yeah.
So we never wanted to quit or thought we were going to quit, but we did have moments where we're like, is this going to work? Like, you know what I mean? Will this break?
Are we going to be able to continue to do this?
Yeah. Our first shipment of cut and sew American made tees came in to HQ. It was a proud moment. Tractor trailer backs up, pallets come off. It's wonderful. They come inside, we try them on, and we're like, what is going on here? These are like super athletic fit. This is not right. So we're looking at the tags, and I know you experienced. We gave you some of those, and you're like, man, these are great, but they're like really fitted, like super athletic fit.
Compared to the sizing before and everything.
Exactly, yeah. And they were actually, it was just an error, and they were double dried on high after screen printing.
That was it.
And that was a moment you're staring down the barrel of, $150,000 plus of inventory.
Oh, man.
And you're like, and this is our like July 4th drop. Like, how do we do this? You know what I mean? So we had to find a solution and resize everything. And even then it wasn't perfect. Like, we lost like an inch on the hem on the side, but we made it through. You know what I mean? We made it through. Fightwear was actually easier, believe it or not, than the lifestyle stuff.
So what was your, like, I don't want to say coping mechanism, but what did you back up on? What was the foundation that led you to like really go, we are going to push through. We're going to make this because of X, Y, and Z.
I mean, we look back on our mission, like what we were doing and what we were inspiring everybody else to do, which was to work hard for, the lives they wanted for themselves and their families.
Yeah.
And we're sitting here and we're thinking, okay, well, this is a moment where we have to practice what we preach.
Yeah.
And in entrepreneurship, there's like 1,000 of those. But that one in particular was like, okay, we need to go back on our, foundation of hard work and lean into our mission, which is restoring the dignity of hard work. Like, make it through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We talk a lot about leadership and resilience, but what's something about the weight of responsibility that people don't understand?
Man, that's a good question. That's a good one. I think it bleeds into all areas of your life, I think. I think that a lot of people think that when you have responsibility, and you're talking about responsibility of building something greater than yourself.
And the leadership to go with it. Like, 'cause you have to manage, you're managing a team, you're managing people, you've got
course.
a partner, your cousin, you know.
Yeah, of course. I think what a lot of people don't understand is like it bleeds into every aspect of your life. Like you need to, when you reach a certain echelon in leadership or a community that you're building, you have to start working harder on yourself than you actually are on your business or your community, because without that strong foundation, it will crumble under that weight.
And then you don't have the resilience.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You need to be squared away personally, you know what I mean, to reach those heights. That weight bleeds into everything. It bleeds into family. It bleeds into your sleep. It bleeds into your training. It bleeds into absolutely everything. You know what I mean?
How is that different from what you were doing before you and Drew started Fuel Hunt? Like, how's that leadership and resilience and responsibility changed?
I mean,
now
look,
that you're doing what you're doing now.
I was in corporate America. I was building software. You know what I mean? So I was in the technology business. At the end of the day, even though I had a crazy amount of responsibility and I was responsible for a $60 million sale annually, e-commerce sale. You know what I mean? We were pumping like 60 million through the platform. At the end of the day, it wasn't my risk.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like I lost sleep many nights there. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, it wasn't my risk. If it all went upside down, I could walk away
And get another job.
Yep, I could walk away. I could watch it burn.
Yeah.
Whereas in this situation, I burn. You know
And
what I
your
mean?
family
Everybody
burns.
burns.
Everybody
You know what I
burns.
mean?
Yeah,
Everybody
yeah.
burns. Yeah.
So for those out there struggling, whether it's physically, mentally, spiritually, and this is like the core of you right here.
Yeah.
And you guys get some amazing feedback and messages on this. So for those out there struggling, whether it's physically, mentally, or spiritually, what's one truth you wish every man understood?
That's another great question, man. You're a walking magnet, is what I would say. You're a walking magnet. And I didn't figure that out until, a little later on in life. But everything that you're struggling with right now, you have to come to terms with the fact that in some way, shape, or form, you attracted it.
Yeah.
Whether it was things that were done to you in the past that made you attract these things, or things you did outwardly to attract them. You are a walking magnet. The good news is that you can choose to attract other, more positive things that aren't struggle, that are growth through hard work.
Yeah.
But you are a walking magnet. I wish I had understood that sooner, in my life.
How old are you now?
I'm going to be 43.
43.
Yeah.
You're coming up right behind me.
I know. Yeah.
And you're actually not on TRT currently.
I am not.
You're not.
No.
And this is you're kind of like starting to knock on the door.
I'm starting to knock on the door a little bit. Yeah.
Why? I'm curious.
Like I said before, if you're going to build something bigger than yourself and serve many, you have to work very hard on yourself to make sure that you can fulfill that promise to everybody. And I can see that optimizing myself is the pathway forward. So, as I age, you know how things go, man. Aches get achier, injuries get more injurier.
Yeah.
You know what
right.
I'm saying? So it's really how can I continue to show up as my best self and beat the clock so that I can continue to serve our community.
Have you noticed post 40, because a lot of people deal with this,
Mm-hmm.
you notice post 40 things changing?
A tad bit. I'm kind of crazy where I get fixated on something, whether it's jujitsu or our community or business, and I just go. But I have noticed that my recovery is much less than it was. And, if I push myself hard, whether it's either on the mats or mentally, you know what I mean? The recovery isn't exactly what it was. I still feel strong. I still feel great. I think that's one of the reasons why I've waited so long to explore it. But now's my time.
Have you noticed you deal with sometimes you deal with focus issues?
That's never been an issue for me, to be honest. Focus is doing less so that I can do more is like one of my key.
Because one of the things that you can typically start seeing as hormones decline as we age is brain fog,
Yep.
focus, drive,
Yep.
sexual libido, recovery is typically
recoveries.
number one.
Yeah.
So just curious of where did you ever feel like you woke up and was like, something's just kind of off?
Sometimes, yeah, I think
Yeah.
so. Sometimes, and I write it up to okay, I'm getting older.
I'm 42.
I'm getting
Yeah.
older, but the work still needs to be done, type of thing, and I just plow through. But I know that, with the right type of support, that I can probably minimize those days.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
How are you approaching, turning 43 soon?
Mm-hmm.
How are you approaching your training and recovery and performance with everything that you have going on? What's your approach now to where it was? And reality was, I saw your before photos way back in the day.
Yeah.
And
It wasn't that long ago. That was like a year and a half into Fuel Hunt. So I actually had Fuel Hunt, and I was actually flying that flag and building that community while I looked like that.
How did that sit with you?
At the time, I was leaning into the fact that I was a hard worker in one area. Like, I can build things and I can build people, and I'm just leaning into that. And then it started to catch up with me that I actually needed to build myself to be the most effective builder of community and others.
Be leading by example.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, the only way
through
to
your
lead, right?
actions, not through your words.
The only way to lead, right? So nowadays I keep it simple, man. I like simple scales, right? So I make sure I get great sleep. I make sure I eat whole foods. I make sure I stay hydrated. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. The other new thing for me is as of January 1st at 2 p.m., I'm 1 year sober. from alcohol.
Congratulations.
Yeah, which is great. That was a game changer for me too. And I don't think, maybe men realize it, maybe they don't, especially men that are a bit older, in their 40s, 50s, how much alcohol destroys and poisons not only your body, but your mind.
Your endocrine system, everything.
Everything. Like,
There's
absolutely
zero,
everything.
like you're not going to convince me, there's zero ROI.
Zero.
And I'm in an ROI business.
I
In
love
life
that.
and everything else.
Yeah, I love that about you.
Yeah.
I've heard you say that before. I love that about you. Even red wine, it's like, oh, a glass of red wine, it's healthy for you. It's like, no. The stuff other than the alcohol is the thing that's healthy for you, but it's all mixed together. So I got it. Yeah, I'm saying. But
Right.
I've ditched that, and that's been a huge game changer for me as well. I was like weaning off since like 2020 probably when everything went nuts. I was like, something's not right here, and then I was just weaning off. So I wasn't drinking all that much over the past couple of years, but yeah, it's going for good now, and I feel great.
And you're doing blood work while you're here?
I would like to, yeah.
Yeah. You can do it downstairs and get that
Yep.
party started. At
Yeah,
least,
exactly.
And then what we say
See
is
where
like,
I'm at.
Yeah, see what you're at. See what
Yeah,
the story
see where I'm
says.
at. Yep.
You
See where
know,
I'm at.
that the blood work tells the story.
Yeah. And one other thing too, that transformation from fat power lifter, to where I am now, I have the Agoge to thank for that as well. You know what I mean?
Thank you.
Yeah.
So obviously this event is more than just getting guys together. It's about reconnecting with, mission-driven mindset people.
Mm-hmm.
What's your biggest takeaway since you've been here so far? And it's been short, but
Yeah, I think that the mats don't lie. I think that's one of my takeaways that's been reaffirmed. And the other thing too is that there are still strong men out there that are willing to lead the charge.
Okay.
And I think when fortunately now with Fuel Hunt and where we're at, like I have those people like you in my circle. But before Fuel Hunt, that's why we started building it, because we felt alone, like they weren't out there.
But they are.
They are.
Yeah.
They are, and they are, I will say, becoming a majority and much less silent. So seeing everybody come together, they're builders of themselves and things bigger than themselves simultaneously, is really empowering and inspirational for me.
Well, yeah. So kind of on that same vein, when you look around at men here today in this event, what's giving you hope?
I think that they understand that they are here to provide not only for themselves but for others first, to serve others, and also protect. You know what I mean? And not just their families, but also the American dream.
Yeah, that's the reason why like Sid likes to have like the TCCC class that goes here, the situational awareness, jiu-jitsu, shooting on the range. Of course, there's other fun stuff too, and all that stuff's fun, but it's about those skills, right?
It's intentional.
Yeah.
And that's
Super intentional.
that's another big takeaway, that not only are there men like this still walking the earth, but there are very, very intentional men and women that are starting to connect.
For those who aren't here, what's one piece of advice that you want to give them to start building their own tribe of high caliber men?
Build yourself, work harder on yourself, you know what I mean, than you do on building the community, and they'll come. You know what I mean? Be the lighthouse.
I mean, that's literally what you did with Fuel Hunt.
Yeah.
So on that, can you real quick talk about, kind of the elevator pitch of Fuel Hunt, how it started, and what the mission is?
Yeah, sure. So, now everybody knows us as a clothing company, and even, maybe even a fightwear brand, like a jiu-jitsu brand, but it didn't start that way. Like from 2017 to 2019, we were a community. Drew and I felt alone. We felt like there weren't intentional men and women left. There weren't men and women that believed in the power of hard work, specifically how hard work could change your circumstances.
Yeah.
Like from who you were to who you wanted to be, your dream.
Which is weird, because the area that you're in, that's what that place was built on. And it's like,
exactly,
it's changed so much.
It has completely done a 180.
Yeah.
And I love my city.
Yeah.
I love my city. The joke is, I'll be taken out of a stretcher at my house. I live in the center of the city, but yeah, it's done a complete 180.
Yeah.
And we felt we felt alone. Like, it probably sounds, a little vulnerable, but we just felt alone. We were seeing, entitlement. We were seeing the victim mentality just like poison, not only our like offices, but also like our communities, our schools.
Yeah. And
we're like, something needs to be done here. And we really didn't know what to do other than connect people that thought like us. So for 2 years, that's what we did. We were a community. We had like 20 shirts, and we gave them out to our friends and family. And then putting out that content, that message, flying that flag, the rules of the few, taking a stand for what we were for and what we were against, started to not only attract people in the community, but then they said, I want to represent this identity. And then that's where the apparel came.
Yeah, you launched your first shirt, right? Mm-hmm. And you were like, oh, wait a minute.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I think we have something here.
The community actually asked for the apparel. They were going through our Instagram posts, and they would comment and say, I'd wear that on a shirt. I'd wear that on a shirt. And this just goes to show you, it's like, I have a tech background. Like, I can build a website in like 3 seconds flat. Drew is from the promotional marketing space. Mm-hmm. So he was doing shirts and merchandise and apparel. So it's like all of the components were there, but we really started with like our purpose and our people first, and I'm glad we did.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Well, dude, I really appreciate you sharing all this today. And before we wrap, where can people follow you on the work that you're doing?
Yep. So you can join the Fuel Hunt community at Fuel Hunt on Instagram, and I'm at Joey Digital on Instagram as well.
There you go.
Yep.
And as he says, everybody wants to eat, but Fuel Hunt. Peace, guys.